So I do have a xenomorph-like character and a sprite sheet. Did I remove it? I did. Or shrunk it down to just one. Okay, this sprite player needs to be characters layer. Okay. I think for now I'm not going to do any animations, at least not right away. I think what I need to do is maybe I'll extend this platform for a little bit. Then I will make a spawner, and basically it'll spawn an alien, and then the alien will go. If the alien dies, then a spawner will spawn another one. And maybe the alien will listen to a keyboard command that I can hit a key to make it die. Just in case it falls off the map, gets stuck or whatever, and I wanted to see what happened, I can hit the button to make it come basically restart. So let's extend this platform. Have my tile palette up here, just out of the way. Tile map. Let's go into the solids. Drop that one right there. Take these. Here. 2 more. That was 3. That's fine. Put it right over that. And maybe for good measure, that there. Okay. I'm gonna test this platform just to make sure I can walk on it. Looks like I can because of the orange, I believe, is the solids. Yeah, that's good. So I'm going to add another, just a simple game object. I want to give it a sprite. I can give it a generic sprite. Something that I already have, like in the library. Well, I could use like anything. What do I want to use? This looking thing? Oh wow. That's kind of neat. Oh wow, it's got some weird animations to it too. I don't know if that's cut right. That's kind of weird. Okay. That definitely is not... It's not right. Came from here. How'd it come from here? Batty 0, what's it called? Laser Turret 16. Oh, is it like buried in one of these? Do I have a laser turret? I do not. It's a decor. It's close to that. Explosions, is that mine? That's mine. Mock up. That's cool. That's kind of like an example of what I could get with the tile set that I'm using. Did you open? Oh, you opened over here. It's a Photoshop document. Oh, that's fine. It's mine, that's right there. This one is 32 by 32. Is that where that thing? Can't be where that thing is, because its scale is wrong. It's not in there. If I click on that and I click on this, well, it will take me there. Okay. Turret is inside traps. Okay, whatever. So make that 32. Okay, that's better. And then I'm going to rename this to Alien Spawner. And then here's something that I don't know how to do yet. Now I'm gonna find my Google Doc. Gonna add how to get a list of all players on the map. That's something I'll need to know for the alien. Because what I want him to do when he spawns, I should use a door, really, huh? Do I have a door sprite? Anywho, when the alien spawns, I want him to search for the closest alien, closest player, and move towards it. The challenge is going to be like, this is going to be a slight challenge. Like, if there's a hole here, jump over it, right? If the player is up here, when I get to a ladder, give it the option to climb. And and I think the logic should be, if the player is to the left and I start running left, but all of a sudden the player is to the right, don't turn around, right? Just keep going until something, like you hit a wall or maybe a hole that you can jump over. It could jump over, would be enough of an intersection to where it could turn around. But basically, have the logic act as almost if there's predefined paths throughout the map, but not, right? So I could tweak it without having to tweak a set of nodes or whatever for it to follow. Although, because the map isn't randomly generated and I'm doing it myself, I could have nodes, and when the map loads, I could have the nodes and then try and draw a straight line from it to every other node and the ones that it can reach without intersecting with the solid is a neighboring node. Then the player could tell the environment what node it's closest to, and then the aliens could do like a nav, like a sat nav, not nav mesh, but like maybe A star ish to get to that node. I could sprinkle nodes onto the map at runtime as well. But if I'm going to do that, then I might as well find somebody else's existing, like 2D nav mesh or something. I think for right now, I'm going to stick with AI, or logic. How about say that? It's not really AI. I'm going to stick with the logic controls. Also want maybe to, if he's above you, I'm sorry, if the player is above the alien, make it so that the alien can jump up, because I do want it to be able to crawl around. Kind of like defying gravity. I don't know how I'll do that one yet either, but I don't want to make it too obvious that it's a xenomorph. Plausible deniability. Okay, so let's start with a script here. I'll put it in a folder myself so I don't have to worry about moving it later. Scripts, going to create folder. This is going to be aliens. And I do want to have like zombie kind of characters, like infected characters. I don't know if they would fall in the alien category or not. This is going to be alien spawner, or should I call it like monster spawner? Or enemy spawner? Character spawner? Or, so, a character is a class that I already have for players. So, enemy spawner. And then in here I'm gonna have an enemy class. But then also a xenomorph, and then the xenomorph will be of type enemy. Okay, so that means here in my enemy spawner, as soon as Unity catches up here, so this can be a private, oh sorry, it's a serialized field, and it's going to be a private list of enemy enemies. Oop. using system.collections. And then I'll have two public fields. These are going to be integers. The first integer is going to be let's see, the number of monsters that is going to be allowed to spawn. And I also want the number of monsters that it allows to be out at one time. So the one would be easiest, so like max children. But the other one, public int children left. There we go. And then a float, public float, and this is going to be delay between spawns. And then I'm gonna have a private float spawn timer. At start, I don't want to do anything. Here I will say, oh, I also need a serialized field for a private, do I want to say enemy? Yeah, because then that'll require the entire thing to be an enemy, or no? Well, game object, enemy, prefab. Okay, so here, simply spawn timer minus equals time.delta time, and then if spawn timer is less than 0, perfect. Spawn timer will go, oops, plus equals delay between spawns. That basically resets the timer. Instead of saying that spawn timer equals delay between spawns, if there's like a glitch or something, or a jitter right at the last frame, then we don't want to set it to the maximum delay between spawns. We want to, it'll end up being like delay between spawns minus that jitter. Also, we need to create an, so yeah. We will go only do this if enemies, oops, make that in lowercase e, just so I feel better. If enemies.count is less than max children from spawner. How about that? Or could have spawners share. Oh. So, okay. This enemy spawner script is actually going to go on the environment. So that means I need to have another serialized field for a private list of transforms. Enemy spawner positions for now. I imagine this could probably become some kind of game object for a physical prefab or asset that maybe like a door that opens or a door that has to be knocked out before it's available to use as a spawner. But for now, I'll use this as spawn positions. And so my thought is now that I have the max children, that is the max that overall for all spawn positions now, not just the one. So if the enemy's count is less than children, do we have room to spawn another enemy? And also, maybe I should do a little if children left is less than or equal to 0. Maybe there's a glitch where I spawn more than one. Return, like that. So now we can reset the timer. And so let's see what we do. The timer is true, the max children is true. We don't have to do anything to this when we add the monster or the enemy to enemies. That'll increase the count for us. So let's make the game object. Instantiate enemy prefab, and then enemy equals that. Perfect, thank you. So we add enemies dot add enemy, and we need to pick a we need to pick a spawn point. For now, I'll just use random. Probably when I figure out how to get the list of all the players in the scene, then I can find out, like, maybe what I would do is I would like go traverse through the list, like spawn 1 for player 1, spawn 1 for player 2, spawn 1 at player 3. So if like a bunch of them were on the right and one was on the left, most of them would be spawning to the right and some would be spawning to the left. So vector 3 spawn point equals random dot range. I'm at Unity 6.3, 6.2, sorry, and I still have a depreciated method like 5 years ago showing up in autocomplete. 0 to spawn enemy spawn points dot count. So this is enemy spawn points, enemy spawn positions. We'll pick a random one of those. Dot transform dot position. Yes, yes. And then go.transform.position equals spawn point. So add this to the environment. Should have been like enemy spawner controller. Regardless. Okay, I'm gonna drop this on the environment. So the environment has it. And then I'm going to just simply drag and drop enemy spawner to the positions. So there's 0 enemies. And I need to create the enemy prefab. So that was alien work. Let's do this. Let's call this a xenomorph. That'll be proof that I'm lying, Your Honor. When they take me to court. Like, I never intended it to be a xenomorph. Then why is it called a xenomorph? Literally in your code. Okay. So now in assets, then in prefabs, I need a folder called aliens. No, I'm gonna make it called enemies. Right, and then I'm gonna drag and drop the xenomorph here. That is now this. And I can delete that, but take this. Right there. So if all goes well, I should get a xenomorph right here. Not there. I don't see any errors. Oh. We want to spawn maximum of 5. I'm sorry, maximum 1 at a time. 5 children left. Five seconds between each spawn. I do need to set enemies left, children left. Subtract 1. Forgot my microphone. Cool. kind of cool on a dark background too. Makes it hard to see. So I kind of want to not use a rigid body on the alien, unless no, I don't want to change like the gravity scale either to get them to stick to the ceiling. Like, so I'll just manually control its position on the screen. I do want to use a collider though. Just for collision detection with the players and the shots, right? And that'll be a capsule collider. Can I go to the thing? Thank you. Where is... Oh. I wish I could kind of lean it forward, but I cannot, so I won't. So something like that. When he's hunkered down though, do I want to change that? I don't know if I can change the offset and the size and the direction myself, like in code, or if I have to have like a couple different capsule colliders that represent each state and it's just switch to it. Okay, so this gets the xenomorph script and so a state maybe multiple states, right? So one state could be searching for the player. Also, is there an on destroy? Like on destroy? Cool. So then I can say to the environment dot instance dot no in the enemy script. I don't have it open yet. There, I'll just find it over here. In the enemy script, I want to have public enemy spawner, my spawner, right? And then when this is destroyed, then it will call or set my spawner dot, and that list needs to be available to me. That doesn't need to be there. This is going to be internal. And then I don't want this here. Okay, so back to this. Now that it's internal, enemies.remove this, right? So when this is killed, it removes itself from the enemies list, which then frees up a position for another one to be spawned. And an update, let's do if input.get key down key code dot there's a key over here, p destroy game object. I need to do a base dot update. Does it have to be public? Yeah, okay. I think I have like on updates for the gun instead of using, because I didn't make the previous one public, but I can go back and fix that. So there he is. Time 5 seconds has already passed, so as soon as he gets killed, another one should spawn. Nope, I get an error. And that error is object reference not set. Yes, right, because when I spawn the alien, I do not tell it that the spawner, what spawner spawned it. Enemy dot my spawner equals this. So this is tell the enemy that we are the spawner so that it can report back to us when it dies. Oops, P. Let's check on the environment. Delay between spawns 5,000. No, that's not milliseconds. That's literally seconds. We would have been here forever. Yep, okay. And then there's one more. Then after this one dies, it's not gonna spawn anymore. Cool. So now let's make this thing move. I do need to have a thing. The thing that the player uses. The player is a prefab. And for now, it's in this folder. I'll probably have players folder inside the prefabs folder once I have different designs. But it has an area check. And that's perfect because the area check gives me a ladder. And I can build off of this as well. Or do I want to... a xenomorph area check specifically so it can check. Yeah. So it can check to see if there's a hole in front of it so it knows to jump. That kind of thing. I could base it off of the regular area check, but we'll do a xenomorph area check script. And I think I'm going to stick that right in the aliens folder. I should have named that enemies. That's a shame. It's not too late. Xenomorph. Let's go make this actually enemy area check. And so if you can imagine, like, everything is blind and the enemy check script is kind of like a walking stick, it will let the alien know where there are solids and where there's holes. I'm going to rename this to enemies. That's going to be fine. Visual Studio is going to have a bit of a fit. That'll be okay. Or did it pick up on that? Yeah, it did not. Oops, I pinned that one. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to close that. I'm going to close those. I'm going to open those back up. Okay, so I'm going to go straight to copying the area check script. Draw gizmo selected. Okay, ground check settings. Blah blah blah. Cool. Oh. I was gonna, well, I can, since I don't have a rigid body and I don't have gravity, those two things, I can't do a, if I try to move it, it can move straight through walls. So, and this doesn't do a front check or like a left and right check, so I should probably do that right now. So those are upper and lower ladder checks, set to ladder layer, ground check settings. Where's the Boolean? Okay, so it is grounded. Should not, it's not going to be that, is it? I'll leave that one there. So that this is going to have like public Boolean for left, maybe left hit, and right hit. Thank you. And then I'm going to say is left hit, is right hit, and is hit the word I want to use for now. So is left hit equals, and this is going to be the same thing here, except check position ground check offset. So here I'm going to need public vector 2, and maybe these should be with their corresponding, take both of these offsets with their corresponding offsets. So left check offset equals a new vector 2. I can do that, right? And then yes, I'm gonna set some defaults here. So this is gonna be like negative 0.5 and 0. And this is going to be positive 0.5 and 0. So those should at least check behind or to the left and then to the right. So depending on which way I'm moving, also, I can't just say if I'm like in front of me is left, when in front of me could be right if I'm facing the other direction. I kind of realized now that I also have made my alien facing the wrong direction. Where's the Unity projects? Interesting. And I kind of want to get in as tight as possible so that when I flip it, I'm not really shifting it much. Free transform, just flip it horizontal. Yeah. Let's go to my enemy xenomorph. Yeah, now he's facing the right direction. So left hit doesn't do ground check radius, it needs to do left check. Oh, ground check radius is fine. And that is fine. We need to do this. Left check offset. Left check position equals vector 2 transform position plus left check offset. Then here I do that. And to save me just a little bit of time, all right, so I'm doing position plus the right check offset to get the right hit. And I'm going to change these to is left collision and is right collision. Now, that's just array, so I'm probably gonna have to check like all around. To check for like holes. But not slopes. Maybe check low enough so that the slope doesn't register, and maybe he'll have to go down. Kind of makes me want to add a rigid body for gravity, but I'm not going to. I'm going to resist, and I'm going to try and make this guy climb on the ceiling. Okay, so he gets spawned, and then I have a xenomorph script. Right now all it does is base update, and the base update just checks to see if there's the kill switch. Should the enemy have the target in the base class? So there's a target character, which it might not have. So if target character is null, then what we want to do is call a method. And this can be a shared method between all of them, right? So maybe, does the environment even know about the character's existence? It does not, but this is a good chance to do to add that. So public list of characters. Like that, and then when a character spawns, it can add to that. And that would be in the player character? Crud. And then let's go back here and change this. Okay, that works. And then in the player character, on start, register the character by saying environment dot instance. Am I allowed to do that? Environment, or can it just be a static? Instead of relying on the instance to bringing it through, I'm just gonna go like that. I'll make it static. That way I don't have to be concerned with the instance having been created before the player character for whatever reason. And then I can say environment dot character list, add this. And then we can do an on destroy. And character is a base class, right? And network behavior, yeah. Environment dot character list dot remove this. So if this is null, then we're going to go to the environment and do a get public static player character get closest character to point position, and then here we're going to have a vector2 position. I could use the third vector, vector3, but because of the Z, if I'm not keeping track of it, it could make things look further away than they really are. So I'm going to rely on the vector2. So player character PC equals null, and then we're going to return PC. And in here, I am going to do a for each player character, and character list. And if, I need a vector or a float, distance from player, and this will be float.max value for now. And then if mathf dot, if vector2 dot distance between position and character transform position is less than distance from player, closest distance from player, how about that? Then PC equals character, right? Yes, and closest, I don't know why it wants to break, but you're not going to get that. Closest distance from player is now this. Do I do the calculation twice? Float D equals this calculation, and then we'll just use it here. We'll use it here. So this just cycles through the list of characters and returns the closest one to the given position. Returns player character, null if none found. And in case you're new and you're following along, what I just did was add a summary, and then here I can do environment dot get closest character to position. I don't know if you saw that. here it says get cycles through the list of characters and returns the closest one to the given position, right? And then I'm going to use transform position, and if I move my mouse over it, it also gives me what I typed there, and it also tells me what it returns, and I need that, right? So target character equals that. I'm also going to return, so this will leave, because if this was null, this became returned null. We don't want to continue with the code. We want to return and then try again. Update is called every frame if the mono behavior is enabled. Okay, why do you have a squiggly line under it? Xenomorph update is unused. Why? Hides inherited enemy update, right? Private member, and so if I say it's public, use the new keyword if hiding was intended. I'm kind of hiding it, but I'm also calling it. So that'll stay there. I don't know why I have this like weird dotted line going like straight through the middle. So just to make it move left, I will say I'm gonna need probably 2 collisions at its feet. Okay, when I'm moving. One to see if there's ground under my feet, but one to see if I'm tall and high enough that I'm not in the ground. Okay, but for now, I need a reference to my sprite renderer so I can flip it. Sprite renderer equals get component sprite render. So if target character dot transform dot position dot x is less than my transform dot position dot x, and then an else. Right, so this is go left, go right, and this logic is gonna over time probably get a lot more in depth, because I'm gonna see like if there's a ceiling that I can reach and the player is so far above me as far as the Y position goes, then it can jump and attach to the ceiling and try and loop around or something like that. For now, I'm just gonna make it work on the ground. And my goal, I only have like an hour left tonight, but my goal is to make it go and jump over, at least jump over the pit. Which means I might need a, let's make this private, and I'm gonna make another private vector 2. I'm gonna call this velocity, right? And then it's kind of like a rigid body already. So move speed, I'm gonna make that a private float move speed, and this is going to be serialized field. I'm going to have a default value though of 1 for now. I think these things will probably run faster than that, but this is not going to be the first enemy that the player will encounter in the game. Okay. So here we're just going to say transform. Let's add to the velocity. How about that? Velocity dot x is minus equal to move speed times. Do we have to do delta time? Or do we just use like 1 and then we apply move speed afterwards? Like velocity dot x plus, oh, should it just equal 1? Like that, instead of adding or subtracting from the existing velocity. For gravity, we'll do that. Then here we can say transform.position equals, do I do a it's gonna have to equal math, or like a vector2 dot move towards current position transform dot position plus velocity. It's just gonna cry because it's a vector 3 and it's a 2. Yeah, crud. So I just call velocity of a vector 3 and move at to move speed. Do I move at move speed times time dot delta time? I think so. So right now, oh yeah. I have the sprite renderer, and so if I'm going left, I'm going to say sprite render dot flip x is false. Oh, here it's true. But down here it's going to be false. So what's going to happen is it's going to spawn here. I think it's still up in the air a little bit, and it's just going to kind of ghost over and go through the floor. And I don't know, I don't think I have to spawn. Oh, I do have to spawn, otherwise it won't find me to chase me. Are you coming? You're not here. Are you going the wrong way? Do we need a negative sign? Okay, so currently he's there. He doesn't know what to do because there are no players in the game. I spawn the player, and he goes left. And so I'm going to do the 2 ground checks to get him to go here. And then when he gets here, hopefully that then will make him fall. I'm not sure how I'm going to stop that jigging back and forth. Because if I'm standing up here and he's down here, I don't want him to do that. I want him to like continue on to the direction. So let's do this. Private int direction equals, for now it's going to equal 0, right? And then so I'm thinking like if direction, not only is if direction is 0, but a desired direction as well. So I'm gonna do this. Figure out the best direction about the desired direction isn't the same as the actual direction. Okay, and then int desired direction equals 0, and then in here desired direction, and then we're not gonna, did I spell it wrong? And now I can say if desired direction, no. If direction is 0, right, and then we can say direction equals desired direction. So the reason why I'm doing this is then default to the desired direction if we don't already have a direction set, and then so we can continue using the direction and going in that direction until we get to like a ladder. Cowboy, how you doing? Until we get to like a ladder or a pit that you can't jump, or something like that that would allow it to change directions. But being like immediately under the player is not enough to do that. So if direction is -1, and then I'm gonna do the if here, that way if the direction is 0 for whatever reason, we'll do something else. Velocity, blah blah blah. So now when the alien spawns, it's just gonna keep going even though it passes me. How goes the Devon? As you can see, alien going through the floor. It's going. I decided I'm not going to use a rigid body on at least this character, because I want this thing to be able to climb on the ceilings like the xenomorph and aliens. I will have like zombioid type characters, humanoid zombie infected characters or whatever that will have a rigid body. I think that would just make it easier, unless the script that I'm doing works just fine and I can apply it to those as well. Okay, so now, like I said, there's a ground check, and then there's I didn't even add the ground layer mask, but I need above ground check, and I don't know if I want to use any a preset number. Maybe I'll just go off of like the ground check offset and add ground check radius to it, and that'll give me two areas that I can check to make sure that one is in the ground and the other one is not. So I'm gonna have another boolean here, public bool is above ground. So this is going to be different. This is going to be, should be true when our feet are not so in the ground. Hello. How was your day? Good. How was work? Good. I wonder how expensive these constant checks are. I might have to do like do one each update or something like that if things get like bogged down. Okay, so then so vector to check position. I'm just gonna recycle this. Actually, I should recycle that one up there. So check position equals, oh I do, I recycle it down there. So maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I should just be doing check position. How's your game jam, Mig Jam game going? I think you said, and it was maybe in my Discord, that you were working on one, having a problem with Unity's inspector. That's right. How's that going? Oh, I could have casted that one variable as a vector 2 instead, or vector 3 instead of having to make my velocity a vector 3. It is what it is. Okay, so transform that position plus. So this is going to be the ground check offset, but also plus the radius. Ground check radius. Oh, like it's going to be like a new vector 3 0 ground check radius 0. don't need the Z. Okay, and so that gives me a new vector 2, which should be above the ground check offset. If I kept it clean, I could just add to the check position, existing position, but I'm not. Okay, is above ground equals physics 2D dot overlap. This is the same thing except stop. Except it needs to be the opposite. It's not that. Okay. So then, I didn't even add that, did I, yet, to the xenomorph? And it's called the enemy area check. And let's pull these both up here because they're more important, I think. So then I can watch these two here. They both, this should be, is grounded should be false and above ground should be true. I need to add solids to the ground layer. And I think right will eventually, left and right will eventually become true as he goes through the wall. So we're watching the actual is grounded as true. That's a shame because that shouldn't be. How close I gotta be for that to be false? Oh. So my characters are bottom mounted, aren't they? Ground check offset. Also, this isn't 32 pixels high, so half is not down here. So let's, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this back until it's grounded. Oops, the other way. Until it is grounded, goes away. Okay. And then that should be true. 0.4. So is grounded is true. Is above ground should also be true. Okay, so if I pull him up, he is not grounded, but he is above ground. And if I put him just below, and that will be the trigger to straighten him up just a little bit until his feet are there. In game, no, I can't tell. Yeah, that's not bad. Right, and so there's like a trigger or a collision check that I need to do, like in the ground, just in front of him and behind him, and all that. Let's spawn me in and jump to the scene. We'll watch. Yeah. And then this left and right collision should eventually. Yeah. Cool. And then he's not going to jitter underneath the player. He's just going to keep going. So now, I think his speed needs to be increased, but I'm going to leave him in this slow motion mode. I'm going to check for the left hole and right hole is, I guess, what I'm going to call it. And I'm not going to use the word is. I think I'm going to use the word has. Oh. When he got here, I do want to see that the is above ground is false before the right or left has collided. Right, so the above ground is checked. Oh. I didn't have to restart him. I could have just destroyed him. I had a few more queued up. Oh, crud. And you know what? Though that value, it didn't stick. Is there an apply? Just move his feet up here. And then pull this in until... above ground is true, and then if I lift him up too far, it is grounded as false. It'll be true at that height. Do I go in or do I go down? Right. Okay. So here, and is above ground, and if I go too low, is above ground is false. Okay, so let's pull this out. Above ground is false, right? And then just go up here, and that should be true somewhere right there. So negative 0.38. That's a number I need to remember. I'm going to put that here. However, that's not going to save it in the inspector. I do need to change that manually as well. Left and right's probably way out here too. I'm going to add a empty. And this will give me a good idea for like a measurement. Like 0.35 seems to be I'm sorry, 0.35 and negative 0.35 would be probably good in the other direction as well. That's these here. For checking with collisions to walls right in front or behind them. And then hopefully the code that I'm gonna add to keep his feet above ground will make him go up slopes, and the gravity that I use to keep him on the ground will have him go down slopes. So I want to have a left hole and a right hole, right? So is left collision, so public boolean has left hole equals, well, I don't have to say equals false, it's just gonna be false. And public boolean has right hole. Why am I using a capital letter? Let's rename this lowercase. Rename. Good. Okay, so more checks. I wonder if there's instead of an overlap circle, is there just an exact point check in Unity instead of a overlap circle? Is there a simple point check? Overlap point, and then I don't use a radius. Is that right? The function allows you to check to see if a specific point in world space overlaps with any Collider 2D. I might switch some of those over to that, because that will be a little bit less of a hit on the processor. Overlap point all, just overlap point. I'm using a layer mask. Minimum depth, because it will, why? Oh, and that's a default is infinity and max is infinity, so yeah. Some of this is probably better off that way, especially these left and right ones. Like that. Same with the hole check now. So check position here is going to be a conglomerate of transform position, and we're going to add a new vector 2, which is going to be left check offset.x. but we're going to use ground check. Ground check offsets Y position.